Welcome back to Great Day. School's about so much more than GPAs and test scores. Structured correctly, it can also be a place where students can become confident, creative, good communicators, and ready for a world that's changing fast. Houston ISD's Future 2 schools are designed with that in mind. The school day will include strong academics, hands-on learning, leadership, technology, and real-world experiences. Superintendent Mike Miles is here to explain how this new model can prepare students not just for the next test, but for life after school in an HISD school. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, in looking at this program, it's interesting because it looks so familiar to me. My mom used to share what her school day was like back in the 1930s. And part of it was obviously reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? But they had the hands-on skills because they needed to know how to fix the tractor when they went back to the farm. Yeah. They had home economics. They needed to know how to prepare a meal. All those things that it seems like, you know, in criticism of education over the last several years, that we got away from and put the emphasis only on reading, only on test scores and GPAs.
Yeah, well, it is important for students to be able to read and do math at grade level.
Yeah.
That's job number one. But you're right, all those things that you did, or your mom did, those were competencies to get them ready for real life.
Yeah.
And so now we have a world that's changing quickly, and our students not only need to be able to read and do math, and that's still important, but they also have to be able to learn how to learn.
Yeah.
Think critically.
Not just know the answer, but know what the question was.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And have perspective, problem solve, make decisions.
And a lot
like
of those things might not be happening at home. And so I think the realization that school has to, I think it's always been there, but to almost become more of a custodial parent, if you will, in some ways.
I like that. It's always been there. We've always tried to educate more than just the core subjects. And even if you look right now at HISD, we have a lot of performance arts schools, but we also, in the schools we call new education system schools, 130 schools, we've already tried to get them to think critically, problem solve, decision making. We have an art of thinking class, and the B-roll that you showed earlier, that's happening in schools now. So they do take things like piano, martial arts, photography on top of their academics.
And it's so good to talk about that, because I think a lot of us think of school as it was when we were in it, right? And we don't understand what's happening in there. All right, the big idea, the Future 2 schools, what's behind this, and what brought up the point to say this is what we have to focus on and make it much more comprehensive?
Yeah, so Future 2 is the next iteration of the new education system model that we put in place, because the future is changing so quickly, and AI is impacting every industry, and so students will enter an AI-enabled world. That means that they have to think critically, they have to have better perspective, emotional intelligence, work with teams, and all those things that aren't really in a textbook.
Yeah.
So a lot more on experiences and real-world project-based learning.
Yeah, all right. Take us through what could be a normal school day for a child in this program.
So in the morning they will still have core subjects. Again, job number one, if you can't read,
reading, writing, arithmetic.
Well, if you can't read at grade level, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage.
Which is something that we're struggling with right now.
That's right. And so not all of our students are reading at grade level. And in fact, many of them, 3 years ago, we were way below the national average in reading. So now we're above. But reading and math, science, and the art of thinking, that's a core subject for us, is in the morning. And so that's not going to change. That's going to be rigorous, and we're going to get kids to read.
And as I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's just when you wake up, it's easier to focus on things in the morning. Is that by design?
That's by design. It's very similar to what you said about your mother. You know, that's the core subjects in the morning, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
The afternoon, though, is mostly about experiences, hands-on activities, working together with other students. And I brought a list of, there's 36 of them.
There's a ton, yeah.
The 36 experiences, just name a few of them. Ropes course, escape room, travel abroad, visit college campuses, museums, rock climbing, grocery store. All of those experiences are real world.
Yeah.
But they are tied to year 2030, year 2035 competencies, like the escape room. The escape room is about decision making and working in a team.
Yep.
We want them to have fun, but there's a purpose behind this.
Yeah.
So every activity that we're doing is tied to a competency that a student needs for the future.
And I got to tell you, these are the things that will make a student want to come to school.
That's
you know,
right.
I think a lot of kids like school for all kinds of reasons, but to actually wake up in the morning excited about coming to school.
Well, yes, and after school, there's sports, music, and the arts. So your last guest, Major, just talked about the arts, and you did too. And so we want all of our kids to have some sort of physical activity or sports, team sport, musical instrument, and the arts, whether that's drawing arts, dance, theater. And so kids will participate in those things as well.
And you mentioned after school. As we know, in my generation, it was the latchkey kid. A lot of us who went home to homes where nobody was there. No one could help you with your homework, and you just kind of sat there and did a lot. I did a lot of daydreaming, but I got things done. But for so many other kids, it's wasted, valuable time. So here's the cool thing about this, is that these kids will stay at school. That does two things. For parents who are working and can't get out of that job until later, they have a safe place for their child to be without wasted time. So explain that to us.
Yeah, so the day starts at, the doors open at 6:30. Now the day for kids start at 7:30, but a parent can drop their child off at 6:30 and we will take care of them and we'll feed them, of course, breakfast. And the doors close at 6. So if you have a parent who can't pick up their kid at 4 o'clock, which is when the school day formally ends, kids can stay till 6 o'clock. There'll be dinner served, and there won't be the latchkey kid that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Imagine a third grader or second grader going home when there's no adult.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. This sounds fantastic, but it only works when we also have parents working with it. So what is your message to parents? As I said earlier, we know that education has been through it. It's never perfect. It gets a lot of criticism, and sometimes we overlook the things that are working. What do you want to say to parents to have them participate with this program? And by the way, it's not in all schools yet, but that's the goal.
That's right. It'll be in 9 schools starting next year. And we've talked to every community, and we've had parent meetings in those 9 schools, and they're excited about it. And I think they're excited about it because they understand that the world is changing. And yes, everybody wants reading and math, so that's for sure. But they also
maybe not math.
Well,
no, I'm just
well, they want their
that was my nemesis, math.
But they want their child to have some facility with numbers. But they also want the other things, the whole child. Yeah. They want the arts, they want the critical thinking, they want the familiarity with different programming. So I think that the parents are excited. I think they're also excited about the school day. Now, if the child wants to leave at 4 and they're able to, then that's fine. We'll bus at 4, but we'll also bus at 6 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, because here's the thing. I mean, it's like our kids are spending more time in school and with teachers during the day than we are during the school year.
Yeah, sometimes,
so to have all of that taken care of, it's a load lifted off, I think, for a lot of parents who, when they come home and they have to get all the other stuff done and work with them, it's like maybe homework can be done already. That would be such a weight lifted, and they can focus on parenting and not necessarily having to be a teacher also in that way, right?
That's right.
All right, the bigger picture here is how it spills over into a city that is very dynamic. Houston, number 4 in the country, but number 1 in many ways, our energy sector, our medical sector. That can only stay strong if we have a competent labor force, right? An educated labor force. So how this can spill out to Houston throughout the next 10, 15, 20 years.
That's right, and I think the business community, the employers of Houston, I talked to a number of them even yesterday, are excited about this because they're working on workforce development. They understand that they have to grow the capacity of the workforce. And that means not starting late, but starting early on, including the schools. Yeah. And so they can see that what we're trying to do with both the academics, the experiences, and the habits of success, things like being at school on time, being responsible and respectful, learning how to learn, but resilience. Oh. And those sorts of things are important also in a future world. So
I think you actually deliver someone who can go directly from high school, grade school, into the workforce, whether trades or whatever, or into college as a stronger student.
Not just with the skills, but with the work ethic. which a lot of businesses have
That's right.
been
You can have a
complaining
great
about.
skill, but if you don't show up,
That's right.
it doesn't work.
And so a lot of businesses have been talking about that, and so they recognize that this is a program to prepare kids for a different world and workplace, and that I think they're also right, and you're right, that can't have a great city without a great education system.
Yeah.
And so we're moving in that direction.
Looking forward to moving that direction. Thank you very much for sharing that with us this morning. If you'd like to learn more about Houston ISD's Future to Schools or apply for a spot for your student, because you get to apply to these schools?
Well, those are in the zone are automatically enrolled.
Okay,
But,
okay.
but if you want to come from outside the zone, you have to apply.
Okay, so if you want to find out more information about that, to apply for your student, if you're outside of that zone, just scan the QR codes right there on your screen, or you can visit HoustonISD.org. You can also follow Houston ISD on social media at, guess where, Houston ISD.